Hi, I'm Marni Ahmed. My real name is Arman and I'm 15 and I've got Harlequin ichthyosis.
I do, I can't forget that day. He was a 7-month baby, just over 7 months, premature, and it was the biggest shock of my life because I was really worried about having a baby so early because I've had 2 other children, not an issue. And with this pregnancy I knew something was different, and as I went to labour early the worry was his lung development and everything else, but actually I had a bigger challenge on my hands, is having a child with a severe skin condition that nobody knows about, and because it's so rare it was very difficult. I could say actually I watched a documentary about 2 sisters with Harlequins, and I remember sitting there and I was 5 months pregnant and I thought, wow, that poor mum and those beautiful girls, how hard life is, and it doesn't make you think. And then I realised 2 months down the line that I actually have a baby with ichthyosis, and it was, I can't explain how I felt. It's just really difficult to explain that moment of knowing that your child's not only got a severe skin condition, but he may not survive. And I think that for me was the hardest thing to accept.
Well, I have a very high metabolism due to the fact that I lose a lot of calories and fluid through my skin. So due to that and losing calories, I'm quite skinny, and I have to eat lots to maintain my weight and metabolism. Well, I eat like high calorie, like snacks, for example. I eat a lot of like protein bars, not exactly like healthy, but I eat a lot of like crisps as well. And I eat, so like for dinners and lunch I have a lot of like protein, like chicken.
I wish at times that I had someone like myself to support someone with a condition like Harlequin's, and because I was left alone for a long time, everybody was trying, and it's not their fault, it's because they didn't know. They didn't know his condition, they didn't know what to do. We just took it day by day, and just whatever I was getting support, whatever support I was receiving from dermatology and how to manage your skin better, that is the only thing that was there for me. I had the best supporting doctors, nurses, to get me through the early neonatal stage. And I think the hardest thing was not knowing what was going to happen tomorrow, I think. And now when I look back, and it's been 15 years, and wow, the challenges. And it just, for me, it's every challenge that we've gone through, I realise that actually everything is a challenge, but nothing's impossible. He's here now, he's with me, we're happy, and try and give him the best that I can give him as a mum. And yes, we're going to have so many things in life that are going to try and get us down, and life is difficult as it is, and when you've got a condition, it's going to be more challenging. That's how I see it. I've had to fight for everything for Marni in school. Every time I'd say to them, right, he needs this, well, we don't do that. Do you not want to do it, or you don't do it? And that's the difference. If you don't want to do it, just tell me. If you can't do it, why can't we do it? Well, what is it that you can't give me or you can't support me with? And we never talked, because every time I tried to talk, it was about shutting me down. And they were so uneducated and understand it's like eczema, and it isn't like eczema. There was points where I'd say to them, I wish it was, because it's easier for me to deal with. This isn't eczema, but at the same time I have to look at it in a positive way, where I think he's here. I'm blessed to have him, and he's a thriving boy, happy, outgoing. He loves school, and I love being his mum.
During the week I wake up between 5:30 to 6, and it probably takes me like 10 to 20 minutes to get out of bed because my joints are like really stiff and my body can like sometimes hurt, and my eyes are burning and things like that. And then I spend about half an hour in the bath, so that takes me all the way to 10 past 7 around there. And then I go to have creams, and then after a creaming session, um, during the creaming session, I put the bandages on, then the garments on, and then my uniform, and then the rest of my school uniform, my second one, is packed in the bag. And then I have like snacks to school as well, because of my metabolism. And then by about like 8 to 10 past 8, I set off to school.
He's at school. He never misses school. I always get a phone call every other month to say how well he's doing, and that for me is a big thing, because it just means that I'm doing something right. I'm allowing him to live his life and be happy. And also, you know, it's important for him to make good friends, and be a good person and learn about what's going on in the world, and himself.
My first choice is to do architecture. I want to make my own architecture firm so I can, you know, build houses and, you know, stuff like that.
He wants to be an architect, so he's chosen all the subjects that are going to support him in that. Hopefully next year we're looking at colleges.
My backup plan is to become a dermatologist. My whole skin team working together, it's kind of like inspired me to you know, become one myself and help out other people.
And also, as he's 15 now, we're going to move on, transitioning to adult services and new things that are coming along.
Now that I'm 15, you know, I've got to, you know, take responsibility of my own skin and my cares, and I've got to make sure that, you know, I'm, you know, top condition and that, you know, yeah, so I've just got to make sure that I'm okay and that I'm dealing with my condition and I'm on top of my skin to, you know, make sure that I'm all good. So I have to top myself up every 15 minutes and I have to get creamings done every 2 hours, so I have 3 creamings at school.
So at school he has a support worker, so she does every 2 hours, and then she would cream him every 2 hours through the day and then change his clothes in the afternoon.
And that just makes sure that I don't get dry throughout school and, you know, my skin doesn't crack and all that. It is quite difficult, you know, I'm playing games and, you know, I get a bit carried away, distracted, and then I forget, you know, to top myself up and I'm dry and then all of that stuff, and it can be quite hard sometimes, yeah. Well, you know, when I take responsibility, you know, some of the consequences of not exactly acting according to the responsibility that I'm given, it kind of results in, you know, bad skin days, you know, the consequences are quite tough, so yeah.
So my main job would be working in the community as a healthcare assistant, so I look after adults and children with complex needs. And I've been doing that for years. I used to look after one child, but now I actually look after a few people in the community. So I work around that time where Marni's in school. The university came to me because it's by experts by experience. I'm part of that. I wouldn't even see it as a work or a job. It's something fulfilling for me because I get to talk about my journey through the NHS and how to support health professionals and new midwives, new nurses, that they might come out with a 3-year degree or a 4-year degree, even 5, but actually, do they know what they're doing? And that's so important because I'm the expert in my son's condition, and there's so many other people like myself there with their own conditions I've had to deal with, or family support and other carers. And I don't see myself as a carer. I actually don't like the word carer, but actually I'm a mum. I'm trying to do the best I can with a child with additional needs.
I have a dermatologist, a pain doctor, a paediatrician and a GP.
I'd love to have some respite, but at this moment in time I don't think it's going to happen. It's difficult trying to find what's best for Marni because I do need a break But then how do I go about that? It's one of those things where, do I trust someone to look after him, or who would be willing to look after him? In forms of respite, there's not much out there for us anyway, because one has got a rare condition. It's very difficult for services to provide the correct respite for him. Right, so when I've dropped Marni off to school, I would usually come back home and start separating, because it's Monday, the laundry guy comes, the service comes, so they'll pick up on Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock. So I've just got to separate everything in 2 IKEA bags here, which, as you can see, the amount of clothes that he's got over from school week. These are his uniforms. Everything gets separated. You're looking at about 20-25 kg a week of clothing that gets sent to the laundrette, and this is something that I have to do every day. And sometimes if I don't have time during the day, if I'm at work, then the carer who will look after him in the evening, she or he will do this. That's part of a care plan, support plan, and he's doing his personal cares. Just makes my life a little bit easier if I have a little bit of help. It's just one job that I don't have to worry about and do. This gets done every day, otherwise it just accumulates. Again, it'll end up being a breeding for infection. It's important that we keep infection at bay. As you know, not leaving creams around and open tubs, dirty gloves around. You know, he can pick up things so easily. And then using disinfectant wipes everywhere, and that's twice a day. But if he's at home during the weekend, then I'm cleaning each time we've creamed him. And then if it's a school morning, it'll be first thing and last thing. But yeah, of course I'd like a little break.
Yeah, my mobility gets affected due to the fact that, you know, I'm at risk of like arthritis due to my condition, and also I have a lot of like stiffness in my joints, and sometimes I get like spasms in my tendons. So and due to the fact that like sometimes my skin's sore, then I can't do like certain activities, and if my muscles are aching, I can't really move. I've got to like, you know, stay in bed all day, reduce activity, which annoys me because I want to stay active and keep exercising and get fit. I do a lot of calisthenics, so that consists of a lot of like core exercises such as, you know, sit-ups. I work on my legs a lot, you know, squats, and I do a lot of push-ups a day, and I ensure that my body is in check. And like most of my exercises are simple but effective. I don't have any weights at home. I just mostly do like body weight exercises.
So when we went to Turkey, I was actually shocked how people treated us. I was like surprised as well at the same time, because every shop we went to, the market, and he'd have a cover on his pushchair, and I'd take it off when we go inside the markets or the bazaars, and people were like, you know, and I didn't mind them because they didn't know, so I didn't say anything. The only thing I didn't like was people from other countries, European countries or Britain or wherever you name it, they're the ones who didn't understand. But actually for some reason in Turkey, and that's why it's close to my heart, we always feel home when we go there. And I'd go to the bazaar and they would say things like, what's wrong with him? And I didn't mind explaining to him, even though I didn't know the language. For some reason they understood. And he'd be in his pushchair and it'd be so hot, and I'd have the brolly over him, canopy, and they'd be like, oh, can he eat? Can I give him something? And I said yes, so we little dough balls, the traditional stuff. He'd go to the restaurant, sit there. Sometimes you need to talk to somebody, forget the condition, the impact it has actually on your mental health, on your psychological health and emotional well-being. And I think people don't look at it that way, because especially with family, you know, and friends, they think you're coping well. They think because you're doing it every day, you're okay. But nobody actually lives your life. Nobody actually spends that time, you know, looking at it in a big picture that actually she's the mother of 3 kids, she's trying to get kids to school, she's trying to do that on top of bathing, creaming, bandaging the little one that needs it. Well, the dermatology team actually recommended that I speak to somebody in ichthyosis, and then there I spoke to a lady called Maggie, which I know is your mum, and she was supporting me for a good few months actually. I remember calling her every other weekend, and she says, you know, I'm always here, you want to talk, and I can understand it's so hard, and I think I spent most of the time crying to her every time I rang her, the few times, and then, you know, and she was never sort of said, oh, I've got to go, I'm not, you know, she was always there to listen to me and, you know, there to give me the positive, you know, outcome, because she always sort of looked at it in a way where I would feel like, you know what, I can do this. I think it's important to me because there's latest research, there may be not even a cure, but something that just to help it, manage it better. You get to listen to other parents, other families, other conditions regarding ichthyosis, there's so many of them, and also being there for someone who needs it, because no one knows what you're going through unless you've been through it yourself.